Today, taking groceries from a shelf feels like the easiest part of shopping. But a century ago, that was often the clerk's job. Customers stood at a counter while employees found, weighed, cut, wrapped, and carried nearly every item. Then a new kind of grocery store handed shoppers a basket, opened the shelves, and made customers perform much of that work themselves. That change looked like freedom. It was also a new operating system for retail. In many American grocery stores around the turn of the 20th century, the counter divided customers from the merchandise. A shopper might arrive with a handwritten list and read it aloud. The clerk would climb a ladder for canned goods, scoop merchandise. A shopper might arrive with a handwritten list and read it aloud. The flour from a barrel, weigh sugar on a balance scale, grind coffee, cut butter, wrap each item, and record the total. The customer decided what to buy. But the clerk performed most of the physical shopping. That system offered personal service. It also consumed time. A long list sent an employee back and forth between the counter, shelves, barrels, scales, and storeroom. While one order was being assembled, the next customer waited. A busy store needed more clerks. More clerks meant more payroll. And even with extra employees, the store could still serve only a limited number of people at once. The business was doing almost all of the work, one customer at a time. In September 1916, Clarence Saunders opened a grocery store in Memphis built around a different agreement. His Piggly Wiggly stores did not invent every part of self-service shopping, and they were not the first place in history where customers ever picked up goods themselves. But Saunders helped turn self-service grocery shopping into a standardized system that could be repeated, promoted, and expanded. The new customer experience began with a simple object. A basket. Instead of handing a list to a clerk, the shopper entered the merchandise area, carried a basket, selected products from open shelves, and brought everything to a central checkout. Employees still stocked the store and handled payment. But they no longer assembled every individual order. The basket was more than a convenience. It transferred the work of carrying merchandise from the employee to the customer. That created a new problem. If shoppers could walk among the goods, touch products, change their minds, and move freely, how could the store keep the transaction organized? The answer was not simply to remove the counter. The entire building had to be redesigned. Early self-service layouts used entrances, turnstiles, partitions, shelves, and checkout stations to guide customers through a predictable sequence. Enter here. Take a basket. Move past the merchandise. Collect what you want. Then pass through the checking and payment station before leaving. Saunders patented store arrangements built around this controlled flow. The store did not need a clerk to escort every shopper because the architecture now performed part of that job. The building told people where to begin, where to walk, and where the purchase had to end. The clerk stopped guiding the shopping trip because the store had learned how to guide it instead. But self-service required more than a new floor plan. The products also had to change. In a clerk service store, an employee could identify a product, measure it, explain it, and package it for the customer. On an open shelf, the product had to communicate without that conversation. The package needed to make the contents recognizable. The label needed to identify the product. The quantity needed to be understandable. The price had to be visible or easy to determine. And the item had to be shaped and protected well enough for customers to pick it up, compare it, carry it, and return it to the shelf. Self-service did not invent packaged food. But it made packaging far more important. A package was no longer only a container. It became a silent clerk. It had to tell the shopper what the product was before any employee spoke. For customers, this system offered real advantages. They could move at their own pace. They could compare two brands directly. They could skip an item without explaining themselves. They could inspect products more closely. And they no longer had to wait while a clerk completed every line of a shopping list. But that independence came with a new assignment. The shopper now had to find the correct aisle. Recognize the product. Compare sizes and prices. Lift the item. Carry it. And bring it to checkout. What felt like freedom to the customer also functioned as labor savings for the store. The work did not disappear. It moved. That movement also changed what people bought. In the old system, a customer might read a list to a clerk and receive exactly what had been requested. In a self-service store, the customer walked past products that had never appeared on the list. A bright package could attract attention. A display could suggest another meal. Two competing brands could sit beside each other. A customer looking for flour might also notice cookies, canned fruit, or coffee. The route through the store did not merely help shoppers find products. It gave products repeated chances to find shoppers. This did not mean every unplanned purchase was manipulation, or that Clarence Saunders invented impulse buying. It meant that open shelves changed the relationship between merchandise and attention. The store could now sell through exposure as well as direct request. Self-service still required employees. Someone had to receive deliveries. Stock the shelves. Clean the floor. Maintain displays. Prepare certain foods. Watch the store. Calculate totals. Handle cash. And pack purchases. The new system did not eliminate grocery work. It removed much of the picking and carrying performed separately for each customer. Before self-service, a clerk found the goods. After self-service, the customer found them. Before self-service, a clerk carried each item to the counter. After self-service, the shopper carried a basket. Before self-service, the employee explained many products. After self-service, the package and label performed more of that work. Before self-service, the counter controlled access to merchandise. After self-service, aisles and checkout controlled the flow. The work was divided differently. That division made the store easier to copy. A strange shop in one city would not have changed grocery shopping on its own. The larger breakthrough was a repeatable format. Fixtures could be standardized. Aisles could follow familiar patterns. Signs could explain the rules. Baskets could sit near the entrance. Checkout could remain at the controlled exit. The same operating idea could be installed in another building and understood by new customers. Within a few years, the Piggly Wiggly model had spread to more than 1,000 stores. The important innovation was not only one successful shop. It was a set of instructions for building the same kind of shop again. Later supermarkets became larger, wider, and more complex. Shopping carts replaced small baskets for bigger purchases. Refrigerated cases expanded the foods that could be displayed. Cash registers, barcodes, scanners, and inventory systems changed checkout and stock control. But the basic agreement remained. The store organizes access. The customer selects and transports the goods inside the building. Payment happens at a controlled exit. Modern self-checkout pushes that agreement one step further by transferring part of the payment process to the shopper. But the deeper change happened much earlier, when the customer first stepped behind the old counter and began doing work once performed by a clerk. The self-service grocery store did not eliminate the labor required to fill a shopping bag. It divided that labor among shelves, packages, signs, baskets, checkout counters, employees, and the customer. The shopper gained speed, visibility, choice, and often lower prices. The store reduced the amount of personal service required for each order. Today, reaching for a product feels so natural that it barely registers as work. But that ordinary movement was once a job performed for you. The modern grocery store works because, the moment you pick up the basket, you become part of the